The door is open. I need you to hear that before anything else, before the explanation, before the context, before I tell you everything that went into opening it and everything that is waiting behind it. The door is open, right now. Not almost open, not in the process of opening, open. And you are standing at the threshold of it. I see you there. I see the open door, and I see you, standing just outside it, looking in, not yet walking through. And I need to say something to you before another moment passes, before the hesitation hardens into habit, before the pause at the threshold becomes the decision not to enter. Walk through it now, not after you feel more ready, not after the fear settles, not after you have more confirmation, more certainty, more evidence that it is safe to step in. Now. Because I open this door for you, specifically, with your name on it. And everything I have been preparing, everything the blocked season was building toward, everything the waiting was developing, everything the pressing was producing, is on the other side of the step you are about to take. This is not a video that found you by accident. I placed this in your path at this exact moment because you are standing at the threshold of the most important step of this season. And I could not let you stand there one more day without saying what I am about to say. In a few moments, I am going to tell you something specific, something about what is behind this door that you have been waiting to hear for a very long time. But first, I need you to hear this. Stay with me, my beloved child. I see you at the threshold, and I am not standing here in frustration. I am not tapping my foot, waiting for you to finally do what I have been asking. I am standing here with full understanding of why you have not yet walked through, because I know what it cost you to get to this door, and I know what the hesitation is made of. And I know that what looks from the outside like unwillingness is actually something far more understandable. I saw you the last time you stood at a door that looked open, the one that seemed promising, the one that had the right energy, the right timing, the right signs that this was the moment. And I saw what happened when it closed before you were fully through it. I saw how that changed the way you approach open doors now. The slight hesitation before committing, the checking and rechecking, the impulse to wait and see whether this one stays open before you fully trust it with your weight. I was there when that door closed, and I was there in every door since, watching the way that experience changed your posture toward openings. I understand it. I am not criticizing it. But I need you to know this door is not that door. I heard the prayer you prayed in that season, the one that asked me why. Why did the door open if it was only going to close? Why did you show me something if it was not for me? Why did I feel the certainty and then watch the certainty dissolve? I heard that prayer. I received every version of it. And today, in this moment, I am answering it. The door that closed was not a lie. It was a redirect. What it showed you was real. The direction was real. The destination was real. Only the specific door was not the right one. And the right door, the one I was always building toward, is the one you are standing in front of right now. I know what you are thinking as you stand at the threshold. The thought that runs underneath the surface of the hesitation, the one that says, what if I step through and it turns out I was wrong again? What if I commit and then the commitment costs me more than I can afford? What if I am not actually ready for what is behind this door, and stepping through reveals that inadequacy to everyone, including me? I know that thought. I have been hearing it circulate in you since before you arrived at this threshold, and I want to address it directly, not to dismiss it, but to dismantle it. I was there in the quiet moment when you looked at the door and felt the pull toward it. The excitement that arrived before the fear did. The split-second flash of recognition that said, "This is what I have been waiting for," before the hesitation arrived and overlaid it with caution. I was there in that moment. That flash was not wishful thinking. That was recognition. That was you knowing what I had already placed in you, responding to what I had already placed in front of you. And what you felt in that moment, the pull, the recognition, the yes before the fear said wait, that was accurate. I saw you step back. Not dramatically, just the instinctive pulling of yourself slightly away from the full commitment of walking through. The permission you gave the fear to be louder than the recognition. The recalibration toward caution. And I saw the internal negotiation that followed. All the reasons why waiting a little longer made more sense. Why readiness was still a few steps ahead of where you currently stood. Why the time was almost right, but not quite right yet. I know what is underneath the hesitation. I know the specific fear, the one with a name, the one you have been living with long enough that you have almost stopped noticing it is there. I know what the last time cost you, and how it recalibrated your willingness to trust an open door. I know how much the blocked season eroded the part of you that moves forward confidently. And I need you to hear this, not as a lecture, but as the voice of the one who opened the door, knowing exactly who would be standing at it. You are enough for what is behind this door, not the future version. This version, the one that is standing at the threshold right now, carrying everything the blocked season produced, holding everything the waiting developed, bringing everything the pressing revealed about you. That version, this version, is exactly who I opened this door for. Everything I have said so far was preparing you for what comes next. Because what comes next is the turning point. Type, "I am at the threshold, Lord," in the comments if you recognize yourself in what I just described, and you are ready to hear what I need to say about why today is the day you walk through. Before I tell you what is behind the door, I need to tell you who you are. Because the hesitation at the threshold is partly a hesitation about identity. A quiet question about whether the person standing at the door is actually the person the door was opened for. And that question needs an answer before the step. You are. Let me say it clearly. Without qualification, without the conditions the fear wants to attach to it. You are the one I opened this door for. Not after you have done more to deserve it. Not when you have fully recovered from what the blocked season cost you. Not when the fear has fully subsided and the confidence has fully returned. Now, you here at this threshold, in this specific state of almost but not quite, you are exactly the person this door was opened for. Before your first breath, I already knew this moment was coming. I saw you at this threshold before you existed, before the blocked season, before the pressing, before the doors that closed in the seasons before this one. I saw you here. I saw what you would be carrying when you arrived, and I opened this door knowing what you would look like when you got here. And nothing I see is a surprise. Nothing I see is a disqualifier. And nothing I see makes me wish I had opened it for someone else. I have engraved your name on the palms of my hands. What is engraved does not change based on circumstances. It does not say, your name, conditional on readiness. It says your name, period, engraved, permanent, there before the block, there during the removal, there at the threshold, there on the other side of the step. Pay attention now, because this is the part the hesitation does not want to take root in you. There was a night when the disciples were in a boat in the middle of a storm. The waves were real. The wind was real. The danger was real. And I came to them walking on the water. And Peter, impulsive, imperfect, already failed before Peter, said, "Lord, if it is you, tell me to come to you on the water." And I said, "Come." He stepped out of the boat, into the storm, onto the water, not because the storm had stopped, not because the waves were calm, not because he had fully resolved his fear, because I said, "Come." And in the moment, his feet touched the water held. Not because Peter was perfect, because I called him. He began to sink when he looked at the waves instead of at me, not when he stepped out, when he looked away. And what I said to him when I reached out and caught him, what I said is what I am saying to you right now at this threshold. Why did you doubt? You were doing it. You were walking on water. The only thing that interrupted the miracle was the moment you shifted your eyes from me to the waves. The waves around your threshold are real. I am not dismissing them. The fear is real. The history of closed doors is real. The legitimate caution that comes from experience is real. But the one who says come is more real than all of it. And the step I am calling you to take, the one that looks like stepping onto unstable ground, is the step that holds. Not because you are ready, because I am calling. I am your courage when yours is insufficient for the step. I am your certainty when your own certainty has been worn down by the seasons of pressing. I am your open door and the one who stands on the other side of it. I am the God who opened it specifically for you, who chose your name for this threshold, for this season, for this step, and who is now saying to you with full clarity and full authority, come. From every soul on this earth, standing at a threshold of some kind, uncertain, almost, nearly but not yet, I specifically place this word in front of you today, not by chance, not by algorithm, because you are the one I opened it for, and it is time for you to walk through. You are worth opening it for, and still, you are. Now, let me name what has been keeping you at the threshold, because unnamed hesitation is the most powerful kind. It operates in the background, shaping every decision, and because it has no name, it cannot be fully addressed. Today, it gets named, and the naming is the beginning of its end. You have been hesitating because you do not feel ready, and the feeling is real. I am not dismissing it. But I need you to understand something about readiness that the hesitation has been obscuring. Ready is not a feeling. Ready is a position. And you are in the right position. You are at the threshold I prepared, carrying what I built in you through the seasons that preceded this one. Standing in front of the door, I opened with your name on it. That is ready, not the feeling, the position. The feeling of readiness comes after the step. not before it. No one who walked through a significant door ever reported feeling fully ready before they took the step. They felt the readiness on the other side of the step. And you will too. You have been hesitating because the last door that looked open closed, and you promised yourself, in a way you may not have even fully articulated, that you would not be caught off guard like that again. I know. I was there when it closed. I watched what it cost you. And I watched the reasonable, understandable, protective response that followed. The decision to be more careful, to wait for more confirmation, to not commit the full weight of your hope to something until there was more evidence that it would hold. That response was not wrong. It was the appropriate instinct of someone who had been hurt. But the protective posture that was appropriate for that season is not the appropriate posture for this door. This door does not require more confirmation before you enter. It requires the step. You have been hesitating because walking through this door requires you to leave something behind. And you are right. It does. The old identity, the one that developed in the blocked season, the one that learned to move carefully and expect resistance and protect itself from hoping too fully. The old patterns, the going around instead of through, the settling for almost when the full thing felt too risky, the making yourself smaller than what I made you to keep the disappointment manageable. The old relationships, the ones that fit the blocked version of your life but do not fit the open version. Walking through this door requires leaving all of that at the threshold. And leaving feels like loss, even when what is left is what has been limiting you. You have been hesitating because someone told you that you were not qualified for what is behind this door. A voice, one that you gave more authority than it deserved, told you something about your capacity that was not true. Perhaps it was a person. Perhaps it was a season of failure. Perhaps it was the internal critic that has been narrating your life from the position of the worst-case outcome. Whatever the source, the verdict was the same. This is not for you. You are not the person this kind of door opens for. And that verdict, planted at some point in your past, has been quietly operating as the background logic of every hesitation you have felt at every threshold since. That verdict does not come from me. I did not write it. I did not agree with it. And I did not open this door in ignorance of it. I opened this door knowing it was there, knowing you were carrying it, knowing you would arrive at the threshold with that voice still audible. And I opened it anyway, because the voice that told you that you were not qualified is not the voice with the authority to decide who this door was opened for. I am, and I say, you are qualified, not by your own merit, by my decision. And my decision does not yield to other verdicts. Now hear what has been working behind the hesitation. The enemy knows what is behind this door. He was not able to prevent the block from being removed. I addressed that. He was not able to keep the door closed. I opened it. What he is working on now is the pause at the threshold. Because he knows that a door standing open long enough without being walked through eventually becomes an opportunity missed. He does not need to close the door. He only needs to extend the hesitation long enough that you begin to doubt whether the opening was real. He tried to use the memory of the last closed door against this open one, to make the history of disappointment the lens through which you evaluate what is in front of you. He tried to amplify the feeling of unreadiness until it sounded like wisdom. He tried to make the leaving behind that this door requires feel like loss large enough to justify staying on this side of it. He tried to keep the voice that told you that you were not qualified louder than my voice telling you that you are. But here is what he did not account for. He did not account for this moment, for this word arriving at the threshold at the specific time when the hesitation is most active and the temptation to wait is most strong. He did not account for the fact that I am naming every form of the hesitation, specifically, clearly, without vagueness, so that none of them can continue operating below the surface without being seen for what they are. The window of this moment will not stay open forever. The door is open now, and the step I am calling you to take is available to you right now, in a way that will not feel as clear tomorrow or next week or in the next season of waiting. Now is the moment. This is the threshold, and you have everything you need to walk through it. Do not treat this like another video. What I am declaring over your life right now is the permission, the authority, and the specific invitation to take the step you have been standing at the edge of. And what comes next, what I am about to tell you, is behind this door, is why you cannot afford to stay on this side of it one more day. Now hear what I am releasing. Now hear what I prepared while the block was in place, what I built on the other side of the door while you were pressing against it from this side. Because I have not been idle, and what is waiting for you behind this door is not a consolation prize for the blocked season. It is the reason the blocked season existed. You have been waiting for the breakthrough. I am releasing it, not gradually, not incrementally, with the force of everything that has been held behind the block and is now free to move. The breakthrough you have been believing for, it is not somewhere in the future from this moment. It is on the other side of the step you are about to take. The step is the breakthrough. The walking through is the miracle beginning. You have prayed for a door to open. I opened one, specifically, with your name on it, prepared for the exact version of you that is standing at it right now. What you prayed for and what I prepared are not two different things. They are the same thing, and they are waiting behind the threshold you are standing at. You have hoped for your season to change. It is changing. Not tomorrow, in the moment you walk through. Because seasons do not change in the waiting, they change in the entering. The entering is the signal that the new season has begun. And the new season I have prepared for you is better than anything the old season suggested was possible. Now hear what is on the other side of this door, specifically in the areas that matter most. In your calling, the platform, the stage, the expression of what I placed in you that the blocked season was building toward. Not the small, fearful version of it that the waiting reduced your expectation to. The full version. The version I designed before you were born and have been protecting through every attempt to diminish it. It is there, behind the door. And when you walk through, it becomes accessible in a way it could not be from this side. In your finances, the provision that the new season carries. What was held back because the old season did not have room for it, and what the new season has been prepared to release. I know the specific number, I know the specific gap, and what I have prepared behind this door addresses it in a way that will make the source unmistakably clear. You will not be able to look at what arrives and attribute it to luck. It will carry my signature on it too clearly. In your relationships, the right people who belong in the new season. They are already on the other side of the door. Some of them have been positioned and waiting for you to walk through so the connection that was prepared can happen. The person whose presence in your life will multiply what I am doing rather than diminish it. The friendship that carries depth rather than drain. The partnership that aligns rather than limits. They are there. The door is the threshold between where you are and where they are. Type, "I am walking through Lord," in the comments if you are ready to step into what God has been preparing on the other side of what He opened for you. In your mind, the peace that lives on the other side of the threshold. The anxiety that has accompanied you through the blocked season. The sustained low-level tension of pressing against resistance begins to lift the moment you step through. Not because the challenges disappear, because you are no longer pressing against a block. You are moving through open ground. And moving through open ground feels fundamentally different from pressing against a wall in your body. The restoration that comes with the end of a sustained season of resistance. The weariness that the blocked season produced. The deep, accumulated tiredness of faithful pressing without result. I am addressing it on the other side of the step. What your body needs in the new season, I am providing. What the blocking took from your physical reserves, I am restoring. Rest is coming. Real rest. The kind that arrives when the pressing is no longer necessary. In your home and in the people you love. What opens when the person at the center of a home walks through a door I opened. The peace that flows outward. The patterns that break because the person breaking them stepped into something new. What has been inherited that was never supposed to be inherited. It stops here. With this step, with this entry into what I prepared. The people who watched you press through the blocked season, who saw the effort and the faithfulness and the sustained trust, they are about to see the evidence of what that faithfulness produces. What they witnessed as difficulty is about to become testimony. What they interpreted as a person barely holding on is about to become a person who walked through what God opened. And when they see it, when the evidence becomes visible, they will say, "I was there. I watched that happen. And there is no other explanation for it. I told you through my word. I know the plans I have for you. Plans to give you a future and a hope, not to harm you. I meant every word of that, for this door, for what is behind it, for the specific version of your future that this step is the beginning of. I am turning your hesitation into momentum. You're standing at the threshold into the testimony of someone who walked through what looked impossible. You're almost into your fully. What felt like too much to step into is exactly the right size for who I made you to be. What felt like a step too large is the step I specifically calibrated for the person I specifically prepared. You will notice the shift the moment you step through. A settling that happens in your chest before anything is visible on the outside. A sense of rightness, not the absence of challenge, but the presence of alignment. A peace that says, this is where I was supposed to be. A courage that arrives for the next step before you have fully processed the one you just took. These are my fingerprints on the entry, and they will keep appearing. One step at a time, one door at a time, all the way through what I prepared. Heaven has been watching this threshold, and heaven is ready to celebrate the step. This is your appointed time of entering, and everything on the other side is worth every moment of the walk to get here. But my child, there is something I need to say about what walking through actually looks like. Because the instruction is simple: walk through it now. But the execution of it requires releasing some things at the threshold that you have been holding all the way here. I do not want visits from you only in the moments of pressure, only when the block was heaviest and the door felt furthest. I want daily friendship in the new season too. I want to be the first voice you reach for in the morning on the other side of this door. Not the emergency line when the new season brings its own challenges. Walk with me through the open ground the way you walked with me through the resistance. In the ordinary moments, in the unremarkable days, in the steps that do not feel significant, but are part of the path I am laying out one step at a time. Talk to me when you wake up on the other side of this threshold. Tell me what you are expecting from the day. Tell me what you are seeing in the new ground that you could not see from the old position. Tell me what the new season is asking of you before it has become the weight you carry alone. I want to walk through this with you, not just get you through the door and step back. Through it. All of it. Every step that follows the first one. Now, at the threshold, let some things go. Because you cannot carry the full weight of the blocked season into the new one. What you bring through the door shapes what the new season looks like. And some of what has accumulated through the pressing does not belong on the other side. Let go of the hesitation that has become a habit. The pause before committing, the pulling back before entering, the waiting for more confirmation. It served a purpose in the season of closed doors. It does not serve the same purpose in the season of the opened one. Let it go at the threshold. Let go of the identity that the blocked season built around you. The version of yourself that defines itself by what has not yet opened. That version is accurate for the blocked season. It is not accurate for the new one. Who you are on the other side of this door is not who the blocking made you feel you were. Let go of the voices that told you this door was not for you. Every verdict spoken over you by someone who did not have the authority to define you. Every conclusion you drew about yourself based on the seasons of resistance. They do not get to follow you through this threshold. Leave them here. Let go of the comparison between what is behind this door and what you imagined would be behind it. The new season I prepared may look different from what you pictured during the waiting. Different does not mean less. Different means mine, shaped by what I know about what you actually need, rather than what you imagined you wanted. Receive it as mine, not as a compromise with what you hoped for. Let go of the fear of what walking through will cost. There is a cost to entering. Things are left behind. Things change. The old season does not come with you through the door, and some of what was in the old season felt safe even when it was limiting. The cost is real, but what is on the other side of the cost is worth it. I would not have called you through if it were not. Write "I walk through" now in the comments if you are choosing at this threshold, right now, in this moment, to step into what God opened rather than standing at the edge of it one more day. Do not go back to the hesitation after this. Do not return to the waiting at the threshold after I have said walk through. Do not pick up the old identity at the door on your way in. Do not go back to listening to the voice that said, "This door was not for you." Do not return to the comparison between what you imagined and what is actually there. Do not let the unfamiliarity of open ground make you long for the familiarity of the block. Walk differently after this. Move differently. Speak about your life differently, as someone who is through the door, not someone standing outside it looking in. Expect differently. You are not the same person who pressed play. Something has shifted. You are standing at the threshold with permission, authority, and invitation. Honor that, protect it, and take the step. My beloved child, I am not finished speaking to you yet. But first, let me give you words to bring before me. Before we step through together, let us pray. Lord Jesus, I come before you today, standing at a threshold I have been approaching for a long time. A heart that has been carrying the weight of the blocked season and the hope of what is on the other side of it. A mind that has been full of the hesitation I now understand more clearly. And a spirit that is ready, more ready than the fear has been telling me, to take the step you have been calling me to take. I know you have been with me through every day of the pressing, through every prayer I prayed at a closed door, through every moment I gathered myself and tried again, through the blocking and the removal and the arriving at this threshold. You were there in all of it, not watching from a distance. Right there, building what I needed for this moment, while I pressed against what was holding me back from it. Today, Lord, I receive the permission you are giving me. The permission to step through, to stop waiting for a level of readiness that the fear says I have not yet reached. To stop asking for more confirmation before I commit my full weight to what you opened. To stop standing at the edge of what you prepared and finally enter it. I release the hesitation at this threshold, the habit of the pause before committing, the pulling back before entering, the waiting for more evidence before trusting. I release the identity the blocked season built around me, the version of myself that was defined by what had not yet opened. I release the voices that told me this door was not for me. I leave them here at the threshold. I ask you for the courage to take the step, not the courage that feels ready, the courage that steps through even when the fear is still present, the Peter on the water courage that fixes its eyes on you rather than on the waves, the courage that trusts that the ground will hold, not because it looks stable, but because you called me to walk on it. I ask you to meet me on the other side, to be there when I step through, not waiting to see if I manage the entry correctly, but present in the first moment of the new ground, guiding the first steps, illuminating the path one step at a time, filling the new season with what you prepared for it. Thank you for opening this door. Thank you for opening it specifically for me, for knowing which version of me would be standing at it and choosing to open it anyway. Thank you for the blocked season that built what the new season requires. Thank you for this word that arrived at the threshold at exactly the right moment. I step through. Now. With open hands and a heart that trusts you with what the new ground holds. In your name I pray. Amen. My beloved child, I am not finished speaking to you yet. There is still more I want you to carry through the door with you. That prayer was the step. The decision you made in that prayer, the releasing of the hesitation, the receiving of the permission, the choosing of the step. That was the threshold crossed, not just in the future, now. In the act of praying it with open hands, you walked through. And what you are standing in right now, even if it does not yet look different on the outside, is different ground. You are on the other side. What I want to leave you with is not a feeling. Feelings will come. The settling, the peace, the rightness of alignment. But before the feelings arrive, I want to leave you with a knowing. A settled, unshakable knowing that you carry into every step that follows this one. I opened this door. I opened it for you. And what is on the other side of it is mine. Prepared by me, timed by me, sized for you by me. The new season you are entering is not unmapped territory. I have already been here. I went ahead. I prepared it. And what I prepared is waiting for you to discover it one step at a time. When the first step into the new season feels uncertain, call my name. I will be there before the sound leaves your lips. When the new ground brings its own challenges, and it will, because open ground has its own demands, remember that I went ahead of you into those too. When the old hesitation tries to return, when you find yourself pulling back from something in the new season, the way you pulled back at the threshold, remember this moment. Remember that you walked through. Remember that the ground held. And take the next step. When you are weak in the new season, I will be your strength. When you do not know which direction the new ground leads, I will illuminate the path. When the unfamiliarity of open ground makes the familiarity of the old season feel appealing, remember what the old season cost you, and choose the new one again. Go forward. Walk freely. You are through the door, and everything I told you was on the other side. It is here, waiting to be discovered. One step at a time, starting now. Dear friend, if this message touched your heart and you feel led to support this ministry, you can use Super Thanks below. Your support helps us continue sharing messages of prayer, hope, and healing with those who need them most. God bless you abundantly. Type Amen if you receive this word in faith, and share it with someone who is standing at a threshold today and needs to hear that the door is already open.